My name is Ava Sharma. At 35, I should have been running the quantitative analysis division at Thames Rothschild Global, one of the world's oldest and most prestigious private banks, valued in the trillions. Instead, I was fighting to clear my name from a $1 billion fraud I didn't commit. I was the protege of the bank's chief risk officer, Victor Aldridge. I created the bank's most effective risk assessment tool, the Aura algorithm, a piece of AI that could predict financial anomalies with terrifying accuracy. But a year ago, $1 billion vanished from a high-profile client account. The digital evidence pointed to my access codes. Victor Aldridge, the man who was supposed to be my mentor, testified against me. I was summarily fired, blacklisted from every financial institution globally, and left with nothing but my personal savings and the crushing weight of a ruined career. Victor, using the crisis, took my place, gaining full control over the Aura algorithm and the entire risk division. I knew I had been framed. The crime was too large, the evidence too clean, and Victor's ascension too quick. My only lead was a cryptic note left anonymously in my apartment mailbox. The crime is in the zeros, the code knows. Look for the shadow ledger. The note confirmed my suspicion. The fraud was committed using the Aura algorithm, my creation. It wasn't designed to steal, it was designed to find anomalies. Victor must have corrupted it. I realized the zeros referred to the $1 billion, a round, impossibly clean number, which is a massive red flag in high finance. It suggested a bulk transfer designed to cover a systematic theft. The shadow ledger had to be the bank's real, hidden accounting system used to track the illicit funds without showing up on the official books. I still had a backdoor copy of the original, untainted Aura algorithm, the code that was now blacklisted and considered a threat by Thames Rothschild. I had to use my own algorithm to break into the bank's defenses and find the evidence that Victor had corrupted it. My problem was immense. The bank's security was the equivalent of a digital fortress. I needed to adapt the Aura algorithm from a risk assessment tool into a virtual bloodhound designed to hunt the smell of its own corrupted copy. I was framed for $1 billion fraud by my own mentor. Now I'm using my blacklisted code to break into one of the world's most secure banks. This is the definition of high-stakes digital revenge. Pause the video right now, hit that like button if you believe I can clear my name and expose Victor Aldridge. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the moment the banking cartel collapses. And leave a comment. Tell me, what's the one piece of evidence you think Victor overlooked when he framed me? Your support drives this deep dive. Let's follow the zeros. I started by filtering all of Thames Rothschild's public transaction data through the Aura algorithm, looking for anomalies surrounding the time of the $1 billion theft. The algorithm, running for weeks on my secured server, flagged one single transaction, an anonymous deposit of exactly $100 into a minor dormant charity account 2 hours after the main $1 billion transfer. $100 is nothing in a trillion-dollar bank. It was the perfect zero anomaly transfer. It was the bait. I realized Victor hadn't just stolen the money, he'd used the $100 transfer as a cryptic digital receipt, a piece of code hidden in plain sight, ensuring his corrupted version of the Aura algorithm would ignore the massive $1 billion theft while validating a minor, plausible charity deposit. The $100 transfer was the unique key to Victor's corrupted code. I analyzed its metadata, finding a unique, repeating timestamp sequence, a sequence that could be reverse engineered to gain read-only access to the sector of the bank's network that housed the true ledger. I had the key to the shadow ledger. I adapted my Aura algorithm into the Aura Ghost protocol, using the $100 metadata key as the launch code. My goal was not to steal or manipulate, but to achieve a single, undetectable, read-only connection to the shadow ledger database. The infiltration was tense and agonizingly slow. I spent 3 days fighting through Thames Rothschild's security layers. Victor, now fully in charge of risk, had fortified the system, anticipating a brute force attack. But he hadn't anticipated an attack from the inside, an attack using the language of his own security. The Aura Ghost protocol finally established a connection. I was in. The Shadow Ledger wasn't a separate physical server. It was a deeply encrypted virtual database, housed within the bank's main server farm, categorized as legacy testing data. The data in the Shadow Ledger was staggering. The $1 billion I was framed for was merely a cover transfer. The actual, ongoing fraud was a sophisticated, multi-year money laundering scheme totaling $18 billion, moving illicit funds for global organized crime syndicates, corrupt regimes, and arms dealers. The $1 billion transfer that framed me was a necessary sacrifice, a large traceable loss designed to create a single public crisis, allowing Victor to take control of the risk division and shut down any potential internal investigation into the actual $18 billion scheme. I downloaded the full Shadow Ledger, a massive encrypted file, but I knew I couldn't use it yet. If I released the full ledger, the criminals would simply move their money and disappear. I needed to force the bank itself to validate the ledger's existence. I have the Shadow Ledger. It proves the real fraud is $18 million and that Victor used my name as a shield. But if I release this, the global criminals will move their money instantly. I have to trick Victor into acknowledging the ledger. If you're still with me, you are essential to this global exposure. Click the bell notification now so you get the alert the second I release the sequel detailing Victor's trap. Share this video with one person who thinks the rich always get away with it. We have to fight this conspiracy. And drop a comment now. What's the one thing Victor is more afraid of losing than the $18 billion? Tell me his weakness. I knew Victor's greatest fear was not the law, but losing the ability to continue the $18 billion scheme. I executed a surgical digital attack. I used the Aura Ghost protocol to modify a single non-financial data field in Thames Rothschild's internal network, the bank's official compliance certification record. I replaced the bank's legitimate certification code with a unique alphanumeric identifier extracted from the Shadow Ledger. This identifier was Victor's digital signature on the $18 billion scheme. The internal compliance system would instantly flag the modified record as an error. Victor would be forced to manually access the Shadow Ledger to retrieve the correct compliance code and fix the error. His access would create an irrefutable internal audit trail that he, the chief risk officer, had deliberately accessed and manipulated the illicit ledger. I wasn't attacking his money. I was attacking his alibi. Victor Aldridge fell for the trap immediately. The system flagged the compliance error, threatening to lock down all of the bank's transactions. He knew he had to fix it instantly. The Aura Ghost protocol, which was still running silently, captured Victor's access logs, a clear, time-stamped record of him logging into the legacy testing data, the Shadow Ledger, and retrieving the compliance code. His audit trail was destroyed. I contacted Victor through an encrypted channel. Victor, I have the Shadow Ledger. I have your audit trail proving you accessed it. You framed me for $1 billion to cover an $18 billion operation. Surrender now, or I release the audit trail to the global regulators. Victor was cornered. He offered me $50 million in clean, untraceable funds and a full exoneration to return the ledger and my proof. I refused. You don't understand, Victor. The money is just more zeros. I want your immunity. And I want the bank's full, unedited risk analysis report for the last 5 years. I wanted the data that proved the bank knew the fraud was happening. Victor, desperate to save his own freedom, agreed to my terms. He would give me a sworn deposition clearing my name and provide the full risk analysis report. In return, I would give him the ledger and the audit trail, which I had no intention of doing. His agreement was my leverage. I used the sworn deposition to immediately file a motion with FinCEN, demanding a full audit of Thames Rothschild based on Victor's acknowledgement of criminal activity. But before the regulators could move, Victor launched his final counterattack. He triggered an internal, fail-safe contingency lockout, freezing all external access to the bank's core systems and attempting to erase any trace of my infiltration. He had locked me out, but he had also locked the $18 billion in illicit funds inside the bank. The bank was now a massive digital prison for the criminal money. Victor froze the bank. The $18 billion is trapped inside, but I'm locked out. He thinks he's won by sealing the system, but I have the full shadow ledger. I'm about to take the fight global. If you're still here, you are committed to destroying the banking cartel. Hit that subscribe button. The pressure is global, and we need every supporter to push the regulators. Drop a comment now and tell me, which international agency should Ava send the ledger to first? We have to hit them where they hurt. The Global Regulator Alliance, 122 to 140 minutes. I knew the crime was global, so the response had to be global. I couldn't trust one regulator. I used my own clean money to purchase encrypted servers in 3 key jurisdictions: Zurich for banking secrecy, Singapore for Asian crime networks, and London for the bank's home base. I uploaded the full $18 billion shadow ledger and the final damning risk analysis report to all 3 servers. I then sent an anonymous encrypted notification to the top financial regulatory bodies in each region: the Swiss FINMA, the Singapore MAS, and the UK FCA. The regulatory response was immediate and coordinated. Facing evidence of an $18 billion money laundering network, the 3 agencies launched a massive, coordinated global asset seizure and investigation. Thames Rothschild, already locked down by Victor's contingency lockout, was now paralyzed by international regulatory action. The bank was seized. Victor Aldridge was arrested, charged with fraud, conspiracy, and facing the combined weight of 3 international regulatory bodies. The $18 billion in illicit funds was permanently frozen. The bank was forced to declare immediate bankruptcy, and its assets were liquidated. The trillion-dollar institution collapsed because Victor's greed led him to risk everything to cover up a fraud that was too big to hide. My name was publicly and officially cleared. The regulatory reports cited my initial anonymous tip and the forensic precision of the shadow ledger. I was no longer a disgraced analyst. I was the heroic whistleblower who brought down one of the world's most powerful banks. The criminal investigation revealed the full extent of the truth. Victor Aldridge had not only framed me, but he had corrupted the Aura algorithm to create a permanent, automated anomaly bypass that allowed the $18 billion to flow untracked. I realized the true meaning of the zeros in my original cryptic note. It wasn't the $1 billion transfer. It was the zero risk Victor believed he was taking. He was wrong. My blacklisted code, the Aura Ghost protocol, had worked flawlessly. It was the only thing capable of finding the code's corrupted twin. I was awarded a massive legal whistleblower payout from the seized assets of Thames Rothschild. It was more than $500 million. Clean, ethical money earned through justice. I immediately used the money to create the Aura Ethical Finance Foundation. Its mission was to develop open-source anomaly detection algorithms to fight financial crime globally, free from corporate control. My blacklisted code, the Aura Ghost protocol, became the foundation's primary tool, available to any regulatory body globally. I was once again leading a massive financial division, but this time, the goal was not profit, it was justice. I retired the name Thames Rothschild and took over the bank's liquidated data center, converting it into the Aura Foundation headquarters. The place where the $18 billion fraud was managed is now the Global Center for Anti-Fraud. My final act was to develop the new Aura protocol, an algorithm designed not just to find anomalies, but to predict the ethical intent of a transaction. It was a digital defense against the human element of greed. I realized the entire journey was a redemption not just for my name, but for my code. Victor corrupted my technology,
I redeemed its purpose. The 1 billion lie was destroyed by the code that was created to prevent it. I am Ava Sharma. I used a blacklisted algorithm and a single $100 deposit to expose an $18 billion crime and bring down a $1 trillion institution. The banking world will never be the same. The $18 billion banking cartel is finished, and My Ethical Foundation is now the world's leader in financial defense. If this epic story of fighting digital fraud with code and integrity resonated with you, hit that final like button. Your support helps share the story of financial justice globally. Subscribe and hit the bell. My journey ends here, but I have dozens of similar stories of vengeance and justice coming next week that you absolutely won't want to miss. Final comment. Tell me what form of financial crime the Aura Foundation should target next: cryptocurrency market manipulation or sovereign debt crises? Thank you for watching, for subscribing, and for believing in the power of ethical code. I'll see you in the next one.